What up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here tonight with the review for Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 4, Episode number 16, and I think the episode was titled Trouble in Paradise, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be corrected in the description box, and it'll actually be in the title of the video, so it'll be all corrected if I'm wrong. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and just get into tonight's video. Alright, so I'm going to actually start the episode out with Monique and Chris, since Monique didn't have a lot in this episode. So we saw Monique and Chris, they went out on a date with one another. Chris is just talking about he's okay at this point if they don't have another child. But, he's not going to get a snip, because Chris wants to have sex. And the reason why Chris is now okay with the fact of them probably not having another child is because with this pregnancy, Chris is not getting any, whereas with the first pregnancy with Chris Jr., Monique, he couldn't keep her off of him, but now he can't even get her on him. So Chris is okay with them having, Chase, and that being it. And basically, that's pretty much it for Monique and Chris in this week's episode. So now we're going to hop back over to the Cayman Islands and the stuff that's happening over there. Alright, so the episode, it actually picked up where last week's episode left off, which was with Katie calling Ashley stupid. And, and Ashley telling Katie that she didn't feel like she was strong enough to be in that group of girls. Karen, I was thinking about what I want to say. Karen, I applaud Karen for what she said to Katie. Like, she told Katie she feels she is strong enough to be in that group, which I definitely agree to an extent. And when I say to an extent, I think Katie is a strong individual, but I think the stuff that Katie is going through, I mean, any strong person would crack under some of the stuff that she's going through, especially with the issues with, the custody battle with her kids. So, yes, I do feel like Katie's strong. And then all the ladies chime in, and they all agree with, with Karen. And then eventually Giselle just shuts it all down. So then we see Karen and Candace, they're talking, and they feel like Ashley was deflecting, which absolutely 100% Ashley is deflecting. We all know all the shit that Ashley's marriage is going through. So Ashley, she saw an out. She's like, oh, let me attack Katie. Let me talk about this and this and this with Katie to deflect from the shit that's going on in my own personal life, which I definitely 100% agree with them. And then Robin also feels like they should support Katie because of her going through the custody issue with her kids. I definitely agree. Instead of Ashley taking that inopportune time to say she's not strong enough, I feel like Ashley could have said, you know what, Katie, we can table this conversation for a different time, but just let me put it out there that I did not respect the fact that you had something to say about my marriage or my husband, and leave it at that. But to attack the girl's sanity, saying you don't think she's strong enough to be in that group, complete bullshit. But again, Ashley is bullshit. Like, that's all she is. Pure bullshit. A borderline of hypocrisy and bullshit. Okay, you guys, so then we move over to day number 2 in the Cayman Islands. So we see the girls, they're all on the phones with their loved ones back over in Maryland. So we see Ashley. Ashley's on the phone with her mom, and Ashley at this point is now starting to feel guilty for the shit that she said to Katie the night before. And it took for her mama to tell her, yes, she might be going through some stuff and you should be there to support her. Absolutely. Like, I don't understand why Ashley had to be such a total bitch to Katie. It just came off, very mean-spirited. But then later in the episode, which we'll get to that, she came off extremely fake. So then we see that Robin, Ashley, and Giselle are having breakfast in Robin and Ashley's room. And Giselle. Let's speak on Giselle. Giselle is a pure world-class #1 hater. So, they were talking about Karen's, party that she's going to have when they get back to Potomac with the roll-on. And Giselle was just being shady about it the whole fucking time. Because, she was talking about, when she asked Karen about distribution, and Karen said that she would have to speak to her business partners. Okay, if she has to speak to her business partners, what does that matter to you? Like, she might not have she might not have the fund. I'm not saying she might not have the funds. She might not know a lot about distribution, so she is outsourcing to other people to help her with the distribution. Like, there are a lot of things that could be playing in the fact to the reason why she has to check with her business partners about her distribution. Like, Giselle thinks she knows everything there is to know about business. Like, oh, just because she got that every hue beauty, like, oh God. Like, can't you just be happy for your friend? Be like, you know what? We gonna go to Karen's party. We gonna support Karen. Even if I feel like it's bullshit, we gonna still go to Karen's party and support her. Like, I just don't understand why she has to be such a hater and so negative. And then you know how she's talking about she's over Karen. Well, Karen might be over you as well. So join the club. But for her to say that Karen might not own her company, I don't think Karen ever said that she owned 100% of her company. So, like, did she not watch Shark Tank? There are a lot of people that go in there with products and they actually, exactly what I'm trying to say. So, Shark Tank, people go in there with their product ideas. They have, they have 100% of their company, but they go into the Shark Tank looking for investment deals so that they can help them with licensing, distribution, product placement, all kind of stuff that they can't do because they're not in that circle, or they don't have the funds, or it could be a whole culmination of things that they lack, unlike what the Sharks might have. So for her to just keep knocking Karen, it's irritating at this point. Like, be supportive. That's the only thing that you can. Like, just be supportive, even if you don't agree with it. Be fucking supportive, Giselle. So then we find out that they are going. So for the day, they are going to go swim with the stingrays. I think they said snorkeling, and I believe that. And they also went what do you call that? Skiing, water skiing. So all the girls do it with the exception of Katie, who sits out because Katie has some stomach issues. So, they all get in the water. The water was beautiful. And, eventually they notice, like, Katie still hasn't come. So then Ashley goes and checks on her, and, Ashley apologizes to Katie. And I'm like, that was big of her to apologize. But for me, it just didn't feel like the apology was 100% genuine. And that's just my personal opinion. Someone else might feel the opposite, but that's just how I feel. And then on the boat, we hear Karen, and she's making some plans for her party, and you can hear Giselle being shady, and then Robin asks her a question, and I can't remember what the question was, but I do remember that the question sounded a little bit shady to me, and I'm like, you taking your cues from Giselle? Like, again, can y'all just be happy for her for 5 seconds? Just say, Karen, we'll be there to support. Is there anything you need from me? Like, can I help you with anything? Like, that would be the easiest thing to do. Just ask her, can you help her? Instead of throwing shade at her. I just don't get the shade. I mean, I get it, but I don't get it. Especially when it comes to Giselle. Like, where is this coming from? Where is the hate coming from? Where is the shade coming from? Where is the negativity coming from? Explain it. Make it make sense to me. So then we see Candace. So Candace, she apologizes to Ashley, and she tells Ashley that she feels like she deserves an apology in return. And, Ashley doesn't feel like she owes her an apology because, Ashley, like, I can't control how you acted. It's just, what about you wielding a butter knife at me? She says, I can admit to that I was wrong, and, but your actions caused me to do that. And, that's when she's talking about, she can't make a grown person, she can't make her do anything, which is 100% true. But like I just said, your actions led her to doing that. Talking about her mama's house, talking about all of that stuff. Your actions led that girl to wielding that butter knife in your face. Although the butter knife wasn't going to do anything, again, I get where she's coming from. You wielded a butter knife in my face. And like I said, Candace owned up to it. And this is all because Giselle mentioned how cordial they had been with one another. So then they start screaming at each other. I'm like, oh, you take one step forward to go 2 steps back. Oh God. So then, they finally go and they do the jet skiing. I think everyone did the jet skiing with the exception of Katie. So the funny thing about that scene, when they did the jet skiing and they finished it, Robin FaceTime with Juan. Juan said I'm in a business meeting, and he said I gotta call you back. She's like, okay. I'm like, ooh, egg on your face. I would let Juan call me first, and then so that way he can't just hang up in my face. He didn't hang up in her face, but damn, you got egg all over your face. So then Karen goes and checks on Katie, and she just sees how she is. She says I feel better, on the outside, but physically, but she's just still not quite sure in her stomach area. So then Karen tells her, Katie, you can call me anytime you want. And I'm like, that's a nice move from Karen. Like, I'm so happy to see somebody supporting this girl, because you can look at Katie and tell that there's something not right about Katie. I can't put my finger. I don't know what it is about Katie, but here in the last few episodes, she looks a bit. Besides the wig, she looks disheveled. She doesn't look like herself, and it's just like her appearance is going down. And I'm like, that's got to be something. The custody battle could be taking a big toll on her. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, there's nothing in her that could be doing it. That custody battle could be taking a whole toll on her, and I was just happy that Karen took the time to go have a conversation with her. All right, you guys. So then we have the dinner. So we see Robin and we see Ashley. They're getting ready, and then Katie comes to let them know that she won't be going to dinner with them. But she's looking better and she's feeling a little bit better. But her stomach, she was like, it might have been a little bit of motion sickness on the boat, and they was like, well, the boat wasn't really moving that much. So then they asked, she's talking about how over the last month she has been spending a lot of time alone. She's been eating and everything. And then Robin asked her, are you pregnant? And she says, I don't know. And they said, well, have you been using birth control, condoms, the pull-out method? She says, nope, none of those. I'm like, yep, Katie, you might be pregnant. And I do remember back in February, I believe it was, that Katie had a miscarriage. So I believe Katie was pregnant at this time. Because you could look at her stomach and tell, you could look at her stomach, especially when they were on the boat, you could look at her stomach and you can see it looked like a little small baby bump. So then, Robin and Ashley join the rest of the girls, and they tell her that Katie's not coming, and Ashley came out very fake when she was talking to Katie. It just didn't seem genuine at all to me. And then she said something about her being friends with Katie, and Candace looked forward, and Ash was like, "Why'd you roll your eyes?" She said, "I didn't roll my eyes. I looked forward." She said, ugh. I'm not even gonna go too deep into that because it was stupid. So then when they get to dinner, Giselle is sitting beside Karen. She's like, "Oh, I'm sitting by my best friend Karen." Karen's like, "Best friend?" She's like, "I don't know if we would go that far, but we're good." And so it was so funny that Giselle mentions, owning your shit or being accountable for stuff. And that segued for Robin to, and I forgot to mention that when Katie was talking to Robin and Ashley, she did, talk about the whole situation with Giselle and Robin when Giselle went to the open house and, went after Monique. So Robin brought it up at the table. And she told her, like, your behavior at the at my open house, like, that wasn't a good look. Like, I had business investors there, like I had realtors there, like, that wasn't a good look. And instead of Giselle just front out saying, "You know what, Robin, you are correct, and I do apologize about this," she was like, "Oh, but Monique keeps saying Robin and Giselle don't like me. Robin and Giselle don't like me." And then Robin also said, it felt like Robin made an excuse for her, because she said she understood why she did it, but that was the wrong place and the wrong time. How can you understand why she did it if that was the wrong place and the wrong time? Don't understand that part, but like I said, Giselle did apologize to her, and I feel like Giselle did that just to shut her up, to be quite honest with you. I feel that way. I just feel that way. Oh, so then I also did forget to mention that on the bus, to go get, go to dinner. The girls were telling Ashley how dark she was when it came to Katie. Where else? Where are we at now? Okay, so they also talk about at the table the fact that they asked, Robin, what's the status, what's going on between you and Mr. Dixon? And they want to get married. They've talked about marriage again. And then Ashley's like, yeah, Juan told Michael that he wants to marry you. I'm like, ooh, that must have broke Michael's heart. That must have broke his old, that really must have broke his heart to know that his man wants to marry Robin. So then at the table, they talking about the food and the risotto. And, Candace like, oh, Chris had risotto at the party. Yeah, but y'all never got to their risotto, did you? So then, they were talking about the cookbook. And, Candace, not Candace, but Ashley asked Candace, is her name going to be on the cookbook? She said, no, that's something that I want Chris to have to himself. And then Ashley takes it upon herself to try to give her some unsolicited advice, saying that, with the marriage, she needs to try to draw up a contract. And I'm like, really, Ashley? Karen and I was thinking the same thing. You telling her, you trying to give her some advice on marriage when just last season you couldn't even get your prenup in order. But you want to give this girl advice on her marriage. Like, I think what Candace said was good. Let Chris have his thing, and that be that. Like, she doesn't have anything to do with his restaurant. She's not the cook. So why should her name be attached to it? Like, I don't understand why that should be. But, again, Ashley, how can you give somebody advice when you have your own issues to deal with? Right. So, before I get into the day 3 event, after dinner, Candace and Karen go to check on Katie. Katie, she looked better, but I don't think they caught how Katie was dressed. Because they looked at Katie's attire. Katie's attire looked like she was getting ready to head to the airport. Because Katie looked like she was done and over the trip altogether. So then on day 3, we see Ashley and Candace. They are on the beach doing yoga because Giselle, suggested that they do breakfast with one another. So they're doing yoga. So Ashley says, she woke up she woke up very emotional after dealing with stuff with Katie. And then she was also, and then she also says when it comes down to her and Candace, they don't talk constructively. And then Candace says, well, when we were in New Orleans, I was really trying to reach out to you, try to make things better. But some of the things you said really hurt my feelings. And then, Ashley says, what, Candace, if that did hurt your feelings, then I do 100% apologize. And then Giselle comes down. She's asking Ashley and Candace if they saw Katie. And, Candace is like, well, me and Karen went to her room last night, but she was okay then. And she was there. And Giselle was like, well, I just went to her room. The door was open and her stuff was gone. Then I went downstairs to see if she had checked out, and she has not checked out. So where the hell is Katie at this point? So, you guys, that was the episode. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button, share the video, and yeah, that is going to be it for tonight. And I will see you guys again tomorrow for Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. I think the season is almost over, Potomac. I think I saw on Twitter that the reunion is scheduled to air on September 15th. So if that's the case, I think we have 2 more full episodes left next week and the week after that. And then we go into the reunion. And then we'll be getting married to Madison pretty soon. So, later, guys.